Okay, folks, good day to everybody. We are now recording and we welcome you to our training of the managing directors, or what we're calling the Train the Trainers. And we are very, very honored to have you here and to provide this information to you with the blessing and support from Ron. He's allowed us to step into this training mechanism now. We could have waited till after redemption. Most people, prior to this, were thinking that we were just going to do the training academy, but thinking this through, we thought that it'd be good to start a little process of a preview to start having you focus in on your preparation and responsibilities as managing directors. So we plan to do and take one day of the agenda for the academy and teach it in a live Zoom call for the next 5 weeks. So today we'll talk about day one of the academy agenda. We will then focus all the other 4 days in weekly Zoom calls. And then by then we'll have a pretty good knowledge and base for what to expect when our training academy comes. A reminder that all that is subject to change. We could have changes in the midst because it's something that's ever evolving, but expect some changes to occur. And then we'll just modify and adapt to those changes. So very quickly, once we complete this recording and this presentation for tonight, it will be available. I'll have to make a few edits, but then it'll be available to upload to YouTube. We will also put it in our Telegram groups, and we will also put it in a place that we are going to have for the future, storing a lot of library and resource information that we come up with. So, for example, if some things tonight we decide that we want to emphasize a little more, we may have a document that goes into this resource library. We will share with you the link to that if you choose to go in and look at it. If it is, and you pull some information down, it's yours to use. It'll be available for every country in the world that's part of our group. And so we'll talk more about that as we finish the presentation. So, Ron, I think we're ready to go. Are you?
Yes.
Okay, Mr.
I'm
and Mrs.
here.
Mouse, ready to go?
Ready and waiting.
Roger that.
Okay, and I am assuming everybody here is ready to go. So let's go ahead and get started. Presentation for tonight is entitled Delivering Abundance. This is the first day of our training academy agenda. And again, it's to train the managing directors, to prepare them, and then in that process of preparation, to gain the knowledge, the clarity, and the confidence to present this to the directors that they have in their CACs once we finish redemption and are headed to our training academy. You'll have directors that'll come to that academy, and therefore you'll have information to be able to give them a little bit of a preview, just like you're getting here right now. This training is for all managing directors. Let me say that if you have still doubts, fears, uncertainty, that's your mind talking to you. Allow your heart to use this training to give you the tools and information that opens your mind, gives you the clarity, and expands those creative talents that we all have. This Train the Trainer will give you that clarity and therefore prepare you as a managing director. You can choose this to be your playbook for you and for your CAC and your directors that you'll train and develop. You can choose to take or not take on this responsibility that the Alliance is counting on us for. So again, this is everything about this is your choice. And it's really your call. And so we're going to discuss today the day one of the agenda. So we'll just continue and move into the next screen. And that shows, you'll see a little screen there that shows the Managers Directors Academy preview day one. What we would like to do in our academy is to start the day with a really nice musical video, or then have some comments for Ron. So I would like to go ahead and play this for you. This is a song, just something that's a real good song. And then before we go into the topics of the agenda, allow Ron to share his thoughts and ideas. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and play it. Listen to it all at the end. Don't worry about the music, where it comes from. Think about this music and visualize this when we talk about our future as CAC managing directors.
I can show you the world, shining, shimmering, splendid. Tell me, princess, now when did you last let your heart decide? I can open your eyes, take you wonder by wonder, over, sideways, and under on a magic carpet ride. A whole new world, a new fantastic point of view. No one to tell us no, or where to go, or say we're only dreaming.
A whole new world, a dazzling place I never knew. But when I'm way up here, it's crystal clear that now I'm in a whole new world with
Now
you.
I'm in a whole new world with you.
Unbelievable sights, indescribable feeling, soaring, tumbling, freewheeling through an endless diamond sky. A whole new
Don't you
world,
dare close your eyes.
100,000
Hold your breath,
things
it
to
gets
see.
better.
I'm like a shooting star. I've come so far, I can't go back to where I
whole
used to
new
be.
world.
Every turn a
With
surprise.
new horizons to
Every moment, red
pursue.
letter, I'll chase them anywhere. There's time to spare. Let me share this whole new world with you.
A whole new world. That's where we'll
It's
be.
where we'll be.
A thrilling chase.
A wondrous place for you and me.
Okay, so just envision this. This is what we're talking about here. This presentation will go on for about an hour, maybe a little less. This is our training academy agenda for 5 days that we're going to do each day for 5 weeks. So you can see that we're starting the process of giving you a sneak peek preview of what is coming. Each day of this training academy, we'll condense it down to a preview in a live chat for you. And so all we ask of you is to take the time to really absorb this information, to make it a part of what you decide and discern it to be, and then to do your best to prepare yourself to be confident in what you're preparing for, and then to share that information with those directors that will get to the academy once we're done redemption and we're on our way. So with that, Ron, would you like to say anything before we go ahead and start on the agenda?
Just a heartfelt welcome to everybody who's participating with us tonight, as well as for those who will look at the videos afterwards. Loved One Society is gaining momentum, and it's getting real close to where we start plowing the field, if that's the right word to say. We're getting everything ready to prepare so that we can do that. And so a big welcome to everybody. And my heart is just full with love for all of you people for being here. Thank you.
We are equally as excited. Mr. and Mrs. Mouse, any comments you would like to say?
We're just astounded at the attendance. It's amazing. We're approaching 800 participants, 797. So awesome. And just
800.
there we are, 800. Very quick, Dom, if you could give Karen, co-host, Proud Patriot, that will help while behind the scenes before we get started.
Okay, I will do that. And with that, we'll just go ahead and start this presentation. So again, this is the purpose why we're here. We're going to deliver the abundance, both a financial abundance, a mental abundance, and a spiritual one. This training preview is for you listening here and for the directors you will prepare for after redemption. Now, you've probably heard me say this a few times already. I don't think we can say it enough. This preparation is important because it is a preparation for us so that we can then prepare our directors, who will then be tasked the preparation for the people in all communities around the world. So I will refer to the Academy very often. I will refer to our responsibilities as often as I need to, but this is just a preview. It's the start of the preparation that we all need. Many of you are probably feeling like you're prepared, but none of us really knows what's ahead of us until it gets there. So let's just take a good look at day one. If you don't mind. Mr. and Mrs. Mouse, did you have a comment?
Yes, I just wanted to add in our intro that it is so important that we're all here together as one, that many will understand this, but by us overviewing this and looking at it and putting our own personal energy into this, there's going to be parts of this program you'll resonate with. There's parts of it that will speak to you and that you'll have ties with other people. So when you're paying attention, maybe make some notes, because that does come through. And as we finalize all this, we're all participating with this as one. It's really such an amazing thing. And I realize that if you're new here, you may not quite get that yet, or we have prayers that you will resonate with that and enjoy that. But this is where we all come together, and it's so important for us to spend this time, and we are building this program all together. Thank you.
Thank you. So Ron, you okay? Did you have anything to say? You good?
That's fine. I was just nodding my head. That's amen to what he just said.
Fantastic.
Jim, thank you.
Fantastic. Okay, so on the screen now, you're seeing a small version of the Academy agenda, and you'll see it in 2 pages. And if you can't see the screen, don't worry, because what we're going to do after this presentation is to post each day's agenda every week on our resource site and available for anyone to take a look at and within the chats. So you can start to see how we're going to mirror what we're doing in the preview to what is coming in the agenda. Again, what's coming in the Academy agenda. Again, this could change. We're just at the point now where we're fine-tuning things, and you will see some changes possibly, and that's a good thing, because ultimately we'll have that final copy available for all of us to then do what it is that we're here to do and why we've come here to do it. So if you can't see the screen, don't worry. Okay, we will provide this information and these resources so that you have them. The more we can provide, the better it's going to be for you. But that doesn't mean that you don't have a responsibility in this, because you do. Take this time to learn and to prepare. Okay, there's the second page of the Academy. And so what we're going to do in this Academy agenda day one is just talk about it here right now. So as always, this is for you to choose what this information will do for you as a managing director and what you think it can and will do for the communities that you will serve. take all or some of what we present as a guide and a clarity of your vision as a humanitarian. If you try to go back to previous videos and information, you might tend to want to overwhelm yourself. We have a tendency to want to learn so much so quickly that it kind of confuses us and it can overwhelm us. Take what we're giving you here as your guide. I used the analogy with Ron and Mr. and Mrs. Mess the other day of the yellow brick road. And what I have done in my preparation is to just get myself firmly planted on that first brick of the yellow brick road. And then each preceding step and forward step is a way for me to learn. And each step I take is each thing I learn. And I apply those learning skills, not looking back in previous, but going forward. And so take your choice as to whether this information will be useful to you, what to resonate with, what to accept, and what to move on with. Okay, so this is your first step of the Yellow Brick Road. And with that, the next steps will follow. So how to present this information? What are the components following the heart when presenting this topic? First off, discussing the heart plays a major role in helping the people in your communities. I had stated earlier that if you are still having some doubt, some fear, some confusion, some uncertainty, some even unworthiness, we've heard this before, that those are all coming from your mind. Your heart is that gut instinct, that intuition, that it's all going to be just wonderful. And so make sure that we understand how the heart is going to play a role in this, especially in this presentation that we're doing and the information we're providing. It's important also to be you. Just be you. Be authentic. We're just ordinary people with extraordinary abilities that we are now learning and will learn how to use. We'll also follow the use of kindness, love, joy, gratitude in working with all people in all communities. Another part of the presentation of this information, when it's time for you to actively present, is to be an extraordinary listener. Listening skills are extremely important because ultimately we want to address and assess the needs of everyone to get them at their highest level of success. Listening skills become extremely important. Just allow their thoughts to be thoughts that you're willing to listen to. Understand that we're also all equal. No one person here is above the other. No one managing director here has more skills than any other one of us. Even though you may think, some of you may think that you're not ready or not as prepared, you don't have any less skills than any of us. And no one has any more skills than the next person, because all of us have no clue as to what's coming. So there should be no expectation except the intention of learning. Presenting of this information is to allow all people to govern themselves with the support of you and your CACs. It allows free will to reign. We are switching ourselves to a world and a people of free will, of choices, and that every choice we make is an experience for us to take. And then working together as a collective, if we all are following this, raises the energy of not only the community, but of ourselves and everyone here that's going to serve and support the people around the world. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, I'd like to just make a comment.
Absolutely.
It's very easy to say come from your heart, and very hard to understand it to the point that your heart kind of kicks in on its own. We have never really experienced the fullness of the Spirit that is presenting to us now. We've not had that experience because our raising, the way we were raised, the way we do things, the way we is all in support of somebody else that's called the cabal. So the cabal gets into our minds into a degree, some to a higher degree, some to a lower. The cabal is the essence of what we think and how we think. And it's been such a conditioning experience for us that we don't really know and understand how to use the heart. And if you're one of those who has trouble really understanding the difference between using the heart and using the mind, my suggestion is to start pondering these things in some of your quiet times. If you meditate, that's a good thing. And meditate about some of the things that you want to know about and to think it through. Learn how to think things through. If you're going to be a managing director, what do you think it's supposed to be? Put yourself in your position of doing something for somebody. Maybe it's teaching a director how to be a director of a CAC, or training other people, or wanting to share with other people for other positions or things that you want them to do. Start thinking about these things. How are you going to present it? Now, the backdrop to the whole process is going to be the light frequency, the light wave that's coming. And that's going to change who we are. Now, some people will give you some ideas about it, and some will say, well, it's a little bit at a time, and others will say it's going to be a major event that takes place. To me, it's going to be a major event that takes place, and that light wave will come, and it will come to the earth through through our sun. And the light that comes is not the sunlight; it's not the same. The light that comes does not cast a shadow; it goes through everything. The light is so penetrating that there's nothing that can stop it. Well, it's not like they're trying to stop it, but the light just goes through. So when it comes to the earth, it's not just the surface of the earth, it's to everything and everybody that lives on the earth. You can't hide from it. There's no reason to hide from it. There's no reason to disbelieve or put up barriers to what you're trying to do, because that light is going to be so helpful for us and for our bodies. It will renew who we are. It will bring us into the perfected blueprint of the body that was given to us by Father in heaven, by Prime Creator, so that we would have a body to enter into physicality. It was never meant to die. It's because of the things that have happened here to the earth why there is death. So what I'm trying to say is, let's just let our minds go over there for a little bit. And let's just see if we can bring our heart into the fullness of our thinking. The heart is in harmony with a new wave, a light wave that's coming. Our heart knows everything. Our mind knows very little. And by comparison, it's like a drop in the ocean compared to what our hearts already know. So the mind, we have to still the mind. That seems to be the most important thing in our lives. But our mind has to be stilled and take second place to the light. And that light is represented by your heart, going into your heart and letting that do your thinking for you. It's not to say that you lose your mind. That's not the point. The point is that the mind has a place, but it's behind the heart. Let it do the perfunctory things that need to take place, but don't let it be the one in charge of you. So when we say, go into your heart, come from your heart, you want to be sure that the people that you meet feel your love, and feel your compassion for them and for the work that you're trying to do in helping them to create a better life for themselves. We're only sharing. We don't instruct. We don't tell people. We show by our way that we are. By their fruits ye shall know them. If your fruits are not showing what's inside, then that's where you need to work. That needs a lot of work. Not, I shouldn't have said it that. It's where we need a lot of work, so that the heart is the thing that comes through. Okay, there's also the concept down here where it says presenting of this information to allow all people to govern themselves with the support of you and your CACs. Okay, you teach correct principles. How do you teach it? You show, you be the example, not show, you be the example. And that way, if you're living correct principles and wanting to conduct your lives that way, then by these principles and by the love that is shown, the people will know you. We didn't get an introduction. We just know each other from the pre-existence. We're all there together. That's called unity. We're all there together. We still are. But we've projected ourselves into this incarnation on earth and have a body. We crammed our great big spirits into these little bodies and have an earthly experience, a physical experience. So correct principles. What we're trying to do is to share with you the correct principles that will guide and direct you in the things that you want to do. Now, I want to just say this briefly. You as a humanitarian, having your bodies gone through all of this renewal and things that are going to take place, you're going to come out the other side of that with the abilities to do things that you never thought possible for you to do. I'm 77, my body's shutting down. You'll sometimes, if you see me, I'll close my left eye because I can't see. It distorts my vision, so my right eye is a good eye. Okay, our bodies have been shutting down, but they're going to have all of those faculties back again. So there's no excuse saying that you're old and you can't get around and I'm not going to have the body to do what I need to do to all of that will be gone. You won't have any excuses with that. Your mind will be alert, will be quickened by the Spirit to be who you really are. So just plan on that taking place. God is in charge. And he's been in charge, but he's let us go through these experiences. And the light wave is the way that God has given to us to make amends for all of the cabal garbage that we've had to live through for generations of time. Get yourself to the point where you know that the Spirit, that God, and the influences, the inner guidance that you're going to get will get you to where you need to be at the right time, to make the right decisions, to call the right person to be a director. I hope you understand where we are with this and start understanding that in the beginning. So as we go through all of this, it's the perfunctory stuff. It's good stuff. But you've got to bring the Spirit of God into your heart and bring the Spirit into the way that you live and conduct yourself with those kinds of principles so that others can see your good works, and that glorifies our Father in heaven. That's our job. With that, I'll let you go ahead, Don. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Just awesome words. And, you know, to Ron's comment, let's just call it what it is. This is really our responsibility to get to that point right now. Have you heard the phrase, trust your intuition? Trust your gut? I mean, those are really good things to even start with, is to just rely on that intuition, trust it, have faith in it. Don't think that it's second guessing is something that I need to do. Just allow it to be. If it's not something that's correct, that's an experience you learn from. If it is correct, that's an experience you learn from. Okay, so in the topic of this day one of the Training Academy agenda that we're providing as a preview, after this training is complete, of course, with the confidence, you can see what role you will play in this personal mission that's out there. So it is our responsibility to learn and discern for ourselves. Answer the questions from our heart instead of relying on others to attempt to give you the answers that you then have to decide if you're going to use it or not. Well, it's just as easy to rely on your own heart. Takes practice to do that. And no one ever said the best thing is the easiest thing to do. Sometimes it's difficult, but with practice, it can be done. Instead of relying on other people, especially gurus and intel people, we're going to end up relying on ourselves. That's what ultimately we have to do as managing directors anyways. So we only want to start to guide you with this information. This is a guide. You have the free will and personal choice, each one of you, to take this information for what you want to use it for, if you choose to use it at all. Visualize what this looks like when it comes to your projects. Trainers will provide a comprehensive education about the QFS and the 5 LWS action plans. That's what we'll do in the Academy in detail. That's what we're doing here today as a preview to that. The content is here to support directors and assistant directors in your areas to develop action plans for delivering the CAC support that we will provide. Tools that instill confidence. To become the best community directors possible, we want to give you, the managing directors, enough good information in advance so you can then develop the people, bringing them to the Academy, and that then they will foster that confidence to not only their team members they will be responsible to, but the people in the surrounding communities we will serve and support. So these informational tools will allow us to work from your heart center, hire and support people based on a set of core values, and then it creates this entire atmosphere and this switching of abundance from the lack to the abundant. So
Very good.
Thank you. Thank you, Ron.
Let me just say one thing.
Sure.
We're giving all of this information to everybody. Does that mean that we want everybody to be the same? No. What you're doing is you're maturing into your spiritual growth and development. You're maturing as a creator God. You're maturing into your position that you're going to take. Every individual has their own unique advantages that they bring to the position of a managing director. Each one is unique. And with that uniqueness combined together, we get the job done. We put aside a little bit the projects that you might have spent a lot of time at that you want to do. That is your uniqueness. When you get into building the CACs and doing the other work, your personality, your uniqueness will be brought to bear on the things that you do. And that will be your moniker. My personal uniqueness is certainly my personal, and I don't want anybody to be like me. That would be silly. That'd be arrogant. But I want everybody to find out who they really are by experiencing the Spirit moving you and maturing you into the creator God that you are. Now, do we have to be creator gods? Do we have to really understand that? I don't think so. It's not that, it's that important to get there, but we're always learning, and allow yourself to use your uniqueness and let that come through. Okay.
Thanks. Just again, a reminder, if you can, please mute yourself so that we don't get interrupted. Appreciate that. Thank you. So part of the agenda in the Academy will talk about the first day, our personal sovereignty. And as directors working in communities, it is vital to master the ability to personal sovereignty, not only just for us, but eventually to align that with what the people will decide and govern by. And so as a part of this understanding of personal sovereignty, and remember, we're only giving you a preview here. When we get to the Academy, you'll see that this will go much more in detail. We're going to be spending an entire day on a subject and probably a few hours on this, not a few minutes. So know that we will go further than what we're going right now. This just gives you a little bit of a taste in advance. But a working definition would be the right of every living soul to have, to be, to believe, to do, and to choose what is best for them. And they do that without any judgment, without any criticism, without any coercion, and without any manipulation. One second, I'm getting something here. Okay. And then with that, in every situation, we accept complete responsibility for every choice that we make and every action that we take. It develops this performance and this ability to have integrity, and then the trust that is all needed to do the job that we are brought here to do. Trust to me is an extremely important piece in this start of our projects, because we're going to have to build that trust in order to build that relationship. So we've outlined here in a very brief way that we will explain further at the Academy, tools for staying in the heart center of personal sovereignty. Ron has talked about this all the time, about going within to work on quieting or leaving the mind and taking that complete focus within yourself in your heart. You can do that by practicing love and gratitude at all times. That's one way to really start to stimulate this heart muscle. Is try this tomorrow. Wake up, put your feet firmly on the ground after you get out of bed, and state your gratitude for that moment. And then see how long you can do that throughout the day. It is a practice, but as you practice that muscle of gratitude, you're also practicing that muscle of heart and love energy. And then the most important piece of this is always the patience that you need to have during this journey, because it's a good thing that we're attempting to have on this journey. And so just be patient with everything and just allow things to be, and allow the experience to just work itself through. Okay, let's move on. A few things to consider in this process too. Ron has talked about this as well. We're creators, born for this. Many of us have been here for this. We just need to allow these creative talents to come out naturally, not forcibly, just naturally. Our intentions will result in the manifestation of what we want. And as individuals, or even as a collective, our hearts guide us to seek and foster love and care for ourselves and for others, which is really what it is all about to be a true humanitarian, is this fostering of love and care, not forgetting to do it for ourselves as much as we will do it for others.
Let me just say one thing, Dom.
Sure.
When you start doing this, if you have a companion, you're focusing on love will open up the love gates, and the love will flow back and forth. This is one of the things that will help us to create love in our hearts for one another. And it will be an opportunity to see how, as married people, and if you don't have somebody there as a companion, then it could be the people that you work with. You will create new companions. You're going to be doing that. And when I say companions, you're going to be doing that. There's companions in the process. And you're creating that love that will guide them through the hard times. And you don't ever give up on people. Firing people, I don't know that that's what we're about. So if somebody's not doing something that's correct, or that you think they're failing a little bit, take them aside and have a heart-to-heart talk. Learn how to communicate. Learn how to communicate appropriately. And learn how to communicate from the heart. These are all things, and the outward expression of that will be your communications with those who you are close to. And they will feel that. Now, we're going to get close to a lot of people. And it's important for us to do that so that we can be successful in relationships. We're not the bosses. We have responsibility, but we're delegating that and requiring responsible returns. So you delegate and then require responsibility for the things that you have delegated to them. And you do it with love, and it's just a magic thing that happens, I'll tell you. Let's go ahead.
Thank you, Ron. You know, I want to say that Ron used a word earlier that has kind of slipped through here, and it is to me a crucial word, and that's the word of unity. And if you just think of this for a moment, that our jobs will ultimately be to take whatever it is that we're given and create this unity within our community. I mean, you can almost keep that as a phrase for you. But we ourselves are unifying. And why do I say that? We've never had any more than a couple hundred people in our live chats. And here we have close to 900, and definitely with our Spanish group, over 1,000 members here tonight. Yes, you are attentive and want to listen to this presentation, but you're also unifying. And we are ourselves unifying as a collective. Would you agree, Ron?
Yes, feel the love. When there's more people loving each other, there's more love that's created. It's a tremendous experience. Beautiful.
Thank you. You know, there's times where in this personal sovereignty development that you want to kind of visualize. I like visualization myself. So if you can use visualization to get a comprehension of information, it helps. So we put here some examples of way to see oneself in order to help others. The mirror exercise is a great example. Basically, just look in the mirror, because everything about you and who you are is in the mirror. We use it for self-forgiveness as well as we do for self-love. You know, there's a visualization you can use for tennis. Think of yourselves as hitting the tennis ball across the net and racing to the other side to hit it. I mean, how can anybody do that and be successful? So it's important to just stay on your side of the net and foster relationships and unify people with your base and your net, and others will follow you. Comprehend who we are as a spirit body, not just one as a physical body, because that is changing. As a creator, what we create for you and for your communities will be the utmost importance. You know, think of the plane scenario. Ron uses plane scenarios all the time, so we thought we'd share one with you. Sit in an airplane, going to a destination, get yourself buckled in, get yourself some water, get yourself something to read or something to listen to, and then just sit there and wonder, why isn't the plane taking off? Well, how can you get to your destination if you don't have a pilot? Every plane needs a pilot to get to where they need it to go. We're the pilot, and we have to design ourselves to get in the direction that we want our communities and the people that will serve those communities to go. take time daily to go within and stay in gratitude. Again, this is a little exercise, simple exercise, but practice it every day. When you think you can take no more steps when you're walking, take one more step. And then that's one more today that you can hopefully the next day add one more. But work on that gratitude. Learn to breathe the air. Even simple breaths at a moment's notice quiets the mind and opens the heart. It's the cornerstone for all that is, just by breathing, simple breath. And then at the same time, don't forget that we got a lot of things that are around us, not just in front of us. Observe, learn, appreciate, and foster what it is that we have that we are grateful for having, because we're here at this time for this reason. And now it's our time to perform and prepare. And so the following is a list of what we discussed in detail at the Training Academy. This is kind of a general statement, this first slide at the top. But again, we'll just cover it very quickly, but we will go into detail as we get more into the Academy. If you don't remember, recall, or even know the action plans, go back to the action plans on the website for more details. So on the first day of the Academy, when you have brought your directors in and we start our discussion and we mention the phrase action plans, everybody's going to know what that is. Everybody's going to get excited to what they're about, and then how to implement that in the structure of your CACs or in the structure of your projects. And so it's important, again, as an example, that one of the examples of this is, we'll talk about it, is the QFS. Understand exactly what that will be. We keep hearing a lot about the QFS from a lot of different people, and Ron has given us all the information that he can about the QFS. So it's up to us to decide if we resonate with him or if we choose not to resonate with anyone else. And so again, the Academy training overview will have a discussion about the quantum financial system, the revenue sharing solution, tools for community stabilization and growth, the Community Assistance Center, the private home funding. We'll also discuss the building of a structure as your CAC, the plan, how that kind of looks in a general sense, because all plans will be different depending where around the world you're going to be. It's going to have a different look and a different structure. And then developing action plans in order to achieve the results that we're all going to achieve, knowing that when we achieve these results, it helps in that unification of the community and building the unity amongst the people who live there. So the first topic is the quantum financial system. On day one, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about what it is, because by then we'll certainly know in detail what it means. Ron has given us such great information about it, but we'll just know what it is because it'll be started. What the history of the QFS is, how does it work? How do the flow of funds work when you have your QFS account? And then with regard to the action plans and your projects, the RSS, the CAC, all the agreements that we'll have, the EAAs and the BOAAs, the PHF program, the ESS program, the ICCH program, we'll learn about all of that in detail when we go to the Academy. We also feel it's extremely important to learn about Loved One Society, LWS. What role does LWS play in all this process? What is LWS? How will LWS help a community and its people succeed? Any comments, Ron?
Well, I would like to comment a little bit about Loved One Society. We use a term, or the terms, the name. We talk about it. We talk about the plans, the programs, and how to implement things. What is the reason for Loved One Society? You know, from my perspective, Loved One Society is here to solve a problem that is, how do you get the whatever your millions of dollars or yens or whatever currency. How do you get that into the hands of the people without destroying their dignity, without them thinking that they're in the dole from a government or something like this? How do you get it out there in an effective way so that it changes lives from a lack mentality to an abundance mentality? That's what Love One Society was given to us for. That's why we, all of us, helped create the Love One Society programs, because we knew we needed this when we got down here with all of the money that we're going to get. We needed some way to help us. And that's why it was given to us now, but we created it in the pre-existence, and now here it is in physicality, ready for our use. This is God's plan. I don't take any more credit for it than you should, because you're the ones that created it. It just came down to me because somebody said I ought to be the one to do it, and I raised my hand and okay, I'll do it. Coming from love, I know that I have ascended in different life experiences before, so I'm not here to get back to the heavens, if you understand what I'm saying. I'm not here to prove anything. I'm just here to share. And Love One Society is our tool that we're going to use. So without saying a whole lot more about it, just know that you are part of, number one, the alliance that created it, and number two, the humanitarians that will use it. Your uniqueness can never be replaced. If we're not all unified, then we don't have unity. And unity will bring us all back to the oneness. So Love One Society is here for us as the tool that we created for our own use. It's like a car. It's like an airplane. It's like a tool, like a nail gun to build houses and stuff with. These are the building blocks of what we're trying to do to create a brand new economy. And we're going to create the golden age of mankind, where we don't have to die unless we want to. We won't pass to another existence unless we want to. Nobody's going to be telling us what to do. We have our own domain that we are creating. It's a kingdom or a queendom. You're king or queen of your domain. You are creating your domain. And that's what we're doing here with Love One Society. That's why we brought it here. So let's continue on then.
Thank you, Ron. Ron and many members, including all of you, have been given so much information to absorb. Think for a moment on this journey that Ron has been on, how much he has shared with each and every one of us, how much we have attempted to absorb and will continue to absorb. Some of it you might have rejected. Most of it, we know that you have received. This Train the Trainer is just a way to start out training you as a managing director with that understanding of all that you have learned and all that you have absorbed. So as you prepare, and then your job being to prepare your own directors, it becomes easy, you can see eventually, when you are out there serving and supporting others, the importance of serving and supporting those that will be basically on the front lines, and for us to be able to serve and support you. So that's why we're providing this to you today, so that it's a preparation, but it's also as a way to get the confidence in you to trail it down to the people and communities surrounding the projects that you will be doing. Do you think it's important to take the first Yellow Brick step now? We hope so, because we feel it's important. And that is our responsibility. And it's time to claim that responsibility. Be excited, be happy, be joyful, be tearful if you have to, tears of joy. So some final tips and takeaways from this Train the Trainer. You know, comprehend this information for yourself first. Make sure that you're clear. If you feel the need to want to ask questions, we have a weekly session of questions that we provide to Ron that he answers for us. Include this in a way with you, the way you present this to your directors. Give the directors, as we have given you, all the resources for the topics that you can, to give them all the tools that they will need. Answer all questions they may have, including those you can't answer. Sometimes it's just simply good to say, I don't have that answer, but I'll find out. When you don't know, find the answers and it'll come to you. Let's not forget we're going to have a counselor to help us. Be considerate to the fact that our directors are just now learning what you have known for a while. And also the people that will be serving and supporting won't know any of it. So we have to have this transition of confidence and clarity so that everybody can develop it into the unity. The more we prepare, the more we will succeed. So what's next? When this topic is completely understood, which in most cases it probably is, but it doesn't hurt to go back and listen to it again. The next step is to be ready to prepare yourself with your directors to bring all this to our training academy. Review as often as you need to. Be ready. Knowledge is key. You have all that you need to help your directors. Most importantly, have trust and faith in not only your answers, but in yourself, because that's who you're going to rely on more than anybody else, is yourself, and the support of the others they will gather around you. As you unify, more people than you know will gather around you to want to support you as much as you support them. And so this last
Let me
slide,
just say one.
sure. Ralph,
Let
go
me
right
just say
ahead.
one thing about
Go ahead.
have faith and trust. It's when you're in your purpose for life, when you're functioning at that level, you'll know that it's your purpose, and you'll know that you're authentic when you start doing things and you're not really sure about something, but you try it anyway, because the Spirit is going to help you, and you will say, wow, you'll say to yourself, you don't say it out loud, you mean, wow, I really didn't know that, but look what the Spirit did. I could sit back and watch what the Spirit is saying by watching what happened when the Spirit was in me, looking or doing the things that I was supposed to be doing. And you'll find that the Spirit will take over and lead you to the right place, saying the right things that are necessary for that particular point in time with that particular person to be successful in accomplishing what you plan to do. Just know for a fact that your inner guidance will give you all you need. Doubt not, fear not, but be believing. If you think something is right and it's not, is it appropriate for you to have fear or doubt about it? No. Promise is doubt not, fear not. Well, if you doubt not and you fear not, then you're putting everything into the hands of God, because that's the promise. So if I'm believing something that's not true, the Spirit is the responsible person for me. If I doubt not and fear not, the Spirit will get me to the right place at the right time with the right knowledge that I need to succeeding in the purpose that I came to the earth for. It is your promise. Let it be true for you. Just have faith in it. I just say, let it be true. And that's what I call faith. Just let it be true. Don't doubt it. Certainly don't fear it, because with God, who can stop you? And that's what we're coming into. And that's the reason why third dimension is such a hell on earth. Created the hell that we're supposed to be afraid of. And if you don't do something right, then you're going to go to hell. Well, that's where hell is the place where they come. That's been my experience. But we're getting out of that now. We're changing the whole way we live. And you are the one that has the Spirit of God with you, because you doubt not and you fear not, but be believing. It will come. It will come at a time you never knew possible. You'll, I don't know how to do this. Will you get out there and try it? And the Spirit will guide and direct it so that it will be perfect for you and perfect for those who need your help in whatever they're doing. Now, I'm just going to tell a little bit about military. When I was flying helicopters, we had a missile called a TOW, tube. It's in a tube. Tube launched, optically guided by wires. TOW missile. When you fire the missile, there's little strings of wire that come out from the back of the missile. It's connected to the airplane. And when you shoot the missile off, it goes out in front of the airplane, and so you have the crosshairs on the target, and it goes back and forth until it zeroes in on the target. There's a 99% kill ratio there. If the missile doesn't malfunction, then it hits the target. If you keep the crosshairs on the target. It doesn't work until you pull the trigger. You're pulling the trigger in your life. And in the beginning, it's going to be wide movements, could be wide movements, but it will slowly get down to the point where you can see that you're being led by Spirit. This is what's in place for us. We're living in God's world, nobody else's anymore. So just allow yourself the freedom to believe in the things that you feel are true and have no fear about it. Make adjustments when necessary, and you'll be successful in the things that you're trying to accomplish. We all will be successful, and not one of us is going to be left behind. Unity consciousness, that's what we're looking for. I hope that's is that helpful? I hope it is.
Outstanding.
Okay, Dom, I'll leave it to you.
Thank you, Ron. Outstanding. Thank you so much. I love it. Unity consciousness. So this last slide, as we close day one, although again, this is the close of our preview of day one, we will have about a 7-hour day one at the Academy with agenda, comments and things that we will go over more in detail. But if you notice in this slide, it talks about the discussion of a workbook. And what we would like to do, if we can make this happen, is to provide each, well, not that we can't make it happen, we will make it happen. It's just understanding who would be available to do it for us. We'll provide a workbook for every director that comes to our training academy. And if they don't come and choose to use an online version, we'll find a way to get it to them. But this workbook will allow them to make notes for each day of the academy. And then on the back pages of the workbook, there'll be areas where when they get to their CACs, it will give them things to visualize and think about, that if something in a day is successful, if a person comes off the street and needs help and support, and we provide the RSS and they set it themselves up for the PHF action plan, and they're talking with the assistant directors, a director can sit and write that in their book, so that a year from now, if they wanted to go back and see, what did I do on this day a year ago, they can go back and read this. We're thinking we may do a digital piece to it, or do just a big handbook to hand out to each person that they can take back with them. Just something to think about that they'll provide. That's what that means. And then as far as the Q&A part goes at the academy, what we want to do is to allow ourselves to absorb the information of the day. So we're going to keep the element of questions to a minimum the first day, the second day, after we've presented the material, to allow people to then go back to think of questions they may want us to expand on. And then to the next day's agenda on the academy, before we get started, we'll just go ahead and talk to people about the previous day and see if they have any questions that they'd like to address. You can just write the questions in the workbook. You don't have to raise your hand for hours to ask questions. Just bring them the next day and we'll do our best. My belief is that a lot of the questions will be answered within ourselves as we go forward. Okay. So this is our day one of our academy preview. In a smaller, condensed form, we've attempted to do this for you today, and we hope that it stimulates a lot of thought as to not only trainings that we'll be doing here in the next 4 weeks, but then as a preview to what's coming in the future for us. Ron, did you want to say any final comments about this?
No, I'm pretty much talked out. I feel comfortable with what we have done today. I
Awesome.
think it's good. It's godly. Thank you all for your participation.
Mr. and Mrs. Mouse, we are just over the top of the hour. Do we want to see if there would be a few questions? Ron, are you okay to answer a few questions?
Yes,
Okay.
If anybody has a question and you'd like to raise your hands, we'll see as many as we can get through that. Might take them a second to raise your hand. You go down to the bottom under reactions, and that will raise your hand, and then we will call upon you. Just one thought. Oh, here we go.
John,
Okay, we have John D.
open your mic and speak, please.
Hello there, can you hear me?
Yes.
we can.
yes.
Wonderful. Ron, thank you for all you're doing and everything. And I know I probably speak for everybody here. We are so grateful for everything and for all you do, Miss and Mrs. Mouse, and all the very kind gentleman who ran this meeting. The question I have is, we do hear that there are other people supposedly encouraging and handling redemption centers. What would be your thoughts on that, Ron? And what would you know about any others that would be happening?
I was distracted a little bit, John, because I'm trying to find a pencil to write everybody's name down and so forth.
No
Can
problem,
you
no
answer
problem.
ask the question again, please?
Yes, indeed. We do, and I do know of one particular organization who supposedly says they're the only one handling redemptions. I won't give any names right now, unless you need me to do so. But where this is happening, I just wondered if you knew anything about other organizations doing this and what your thoughts may be.
Here are my thoughts about other organizations. Number one, Loved One Society has the responsibility to outlay the quantum financial system. That's been given to us to do. And I take that as a sacred responsibility. How that's
Absolutely.
going to happen, I don't know yet, John.
Right.
But anybody else who's trying to tell you that they are in charge or they have access to the information, just simply dismiss it. It's okay if you want to believe in it, but the Spirit will help you to get to the right place. I don't overly concern myself with organizations that have alternative plans and ways of doing things.
Mm.
It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. So the reason I don't care is because we know where we are. We know what we're going to be doing. And let's just let that be the case. So I don't need to overly concern myself with what other people say.
Indeed.
We
Well,
know that we know what God wants us to do, and we're doing it. I hope that
absolutely.
helps, John.
Yes, it does. As I say, I've been with you ever since you started, and it's been wonderful to follow the journey and to continue the journey with all of us. This other organization, I do know a lot of people there, and I'm almost really asking on behalf of them as well as myself. But thank you for the answer.
You're welcome, John.
Okay, next up is Annette from Florida. Please unmute your mic and speak.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for all of your love and care in sharing all of this beautiful information to us. I hope you can all hear me okay.
Yes, Annette, thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, I have a couple questions. I heard that the Boulevard was also included with the Dong and the Dinar. I'm just getting a yay or a nay if that is true for the extra value in the redemption.
Okay, let's say a little bit of, there's a whole bucket of currencies that are supposed to be in the revaluation. The revaluation is currency that has been devalued and is being revalued back up to where it's supposed to be. The world has made a big to-do about this and created an artificial way of it happening. The problem with the revaluation is that it was not supposed to be known to the public. It was supposed to be just the inside people who caused all the problems and did all the bad stuff. It's 20 years since that came out, and they didn't know they didn't know or plan on in the beginning where everybody was going to be a part of that. They don't want us to have money. The banks are the ones that have to give us the money. They're going bankrupt. I don't believe the RV will take place the way that most people think it will. If you get vetted by the Alliance to be a humanitarian, you will get notified by the Alliance for your redemption appointment. You bring all your Dom and Dinar and or Dong and Dinar and a bunch of other currencies, and Bolivia is part of them. There's a whole bucket of them, and you bring those with you to your redemption appointment. Anybody that doesn't get the redemption appointment won't be having the revalued currencies because the currencies are going to be changing. So like I'm saying it this way, the RV won't happen for the way that people want or are thinking that it's going to happen. The banks won't have the money to do it, and they don't give a damn about us. So they're not going to get us the money.
All right, thank you.
But the alliance will when we go take them to our, and that's just a kind of a drop in the ocean compared to what we are going to get for the redemption appointment.
Beautiful, thank you. The second question, a little bit completely different subject. Are there being I don't know if we're gonna call them lawyers when we're done, but will we be given, or are there lawyers or people lawfully being trained that will be provided to us for our redemption or for our CAC centers that are being familiarized with our memorandums of understandings for our CAC centers? Just because I think personally, I'm thinking that that will be a delay for getting systems open, centers open, if we have to train people in lawful understanding.
Let me put it this way. This is just my own idea. I hope it's true. I don't get to talk about things that aren't true. What's going to happen is when GESARA and NESARA are implemented, we have a change of governance. Not government, but governance. That means that there will be a different way to govern people. And the way that the cabal has done it in the past is they tax us and then build the things for us. And they build the highways and all that sort of stuff. That's our job. We didn't have the money to do it because they're taking the money and taking a very large percentage of it for themselves and then building here and there just to make it look like something's happening. The new governance will not be involved in building things. We managing directors will have the funds to do that. And on a CAC basis, we get to share with those who are providing services that are needed, firefighters and police and so forth, and emergency medical things. We will be putting those people, will buy their equipment, buy their fire stations and police stations, and we'll turn it into a different organization that's in charge. But we'll put all of those people on employment contracts or employment agreements. And that's how we will get involved on a CAC basis in the local communities where the actual work is going to take place.
That was my question. So are there being people, men, women, being trained under this new governance with lawful understanding of our, or creating already memorandums for understanding for us to implement?
Well, I don't know. We don't get to know a lot of stuff because we're at war. And you know, you don't give your enemies your information. However, I believe behind the scenes, there could very easily be people who go to school and learn law and that sort of stuff. Now, that's the difference between a lawyer and an attorney. An attorney is one. Attorn means you take from one and give to another. That's what attorneys do. They take from one person and give to another, or to keep it themselves. But a lawyer is the one who works with law. And we're going back to common law, which is different than the law that they learned in their schooling to become a lawyer. So how is it going to work? I don't really know.
Okay.
But I believe that God has it all in the right way and the right format. We'll be able to really enjoy ourselves with that.
I do
hope that
appreciate,
helps.
I appreciate that answer, and looking forward to the next few weeks of learning more. You guys have a wonderful night, and thank you again for your time. Lots of
You're
love.
certainly welcome. Thank you, Annette.
Our next guest would be Yolanda. Please open your mic and speak to Ron. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, Juan. Hi, everybody. My question is, will the common law be included? And also, will the academy be for everybody in the staff, for example, receptionists, logistic people? Thank you.
Yes. The idea the actual physical location of a CAC would, or excuse me, the Directors Academy. We thought we'd have a place, but we look at the whole world and gee, how do you get the world over to that place? So we're doing the videos and we're going to get into when the first one that we do, we'll have it all filmed so that we can share those videos with others who have responsibility for training, especially for the directors. And so the idea is once we have they're going to be videos that you can train your people. If I want this person to be my director over that CAC, and that you give them a set of these videos. You might have them there in your CAC, and they can come over and watch them. That's the way that I picture it now. But let's just allow that to take its rightful course, and we'll be directed in the right way to do things. So I hope that's helpful. And yes, common law is going to be part of what lawyers learn and judges. Thank
Yeah.
you, Lola. Hope that
Thank
helps.
you very much, Juan. All my love. Very exciting.
Oh, thank you, dear. Thank you.
Thank you for that question, Ron. I have a question from the Spanish chat that is attending their own transmission privately. They wanted to know, will the solar flash replace the med beds?
I don't know that the solar flash would replace med beds. It's not an either or. Some people are not on the ascension process and might miss out on the light wave that's coming. You know, I've asked a little bit about my own family and so forth, and they don't give a lot of detail about that, except that there are those who will not want to do it, will be too afraid and will reject it. Those people will have an opportunity to go someplace where they feel more comfortable. You don't get sent to someplace that you're going to be uncomfortable, because things are changing. So there's a lot of questions about the light wave and how it's going to affect us. And then on the other hand, once it's done, how do we? I'm a dad. I've got children. I've got grandchildren. They're going to be without their dad because I've gone over there to the fifth dimension, sort of thing. I think that there's a solution to the problem. I've talked about it, and as much as I feel that that might be the right way, I'm open for the heavens to tell me differently. I hope that helps.
Thank you, Ron. I'm sure that they heard your answer. Thank you so much. We're going to go to the next member. It is Myron on his iPhone. Please open your mic and speak to Ron.
Hello, Ron. Hello, everyone.
Hello, Myron.
How's it going?
It's going good.
My concern is, well, I just have a question. I have a friend for the last couple of months that needed help, and I'm not able to help her financially. I'm here in the state of Missouri. How can I help this person? Because she's in real need of help. She has a child. Besides, you know, the resources that we have here in the state of Missouri, how can I help this young lady?
It's a good question, and one that doesn't have a real good answer until, you know, when I get a chance to talk about this with the heavens, they're saying you just have to do with what you can.
Okay.
You do what you can with what you have, and you can't do more. So I don't know how to help you. There may be other ways rather than looking for solving the problems with others in the community. There might be people who will be interested in helping out. But Myron, it's a great thing for us a burden to bear with other people that are around us that are very needy, and we just don't have enough to send out and do everything that we possibly can to solve their problems. But let's take it from a different point of view. Let's take it from God's way of doing it. Those people, they're in need. So those who have the means to do need to share. That would be God's plan. But we also know that those people, through the decisions in their lives, are where they are right now. Now, is that saying that God did a bad job in leading and directing them, or is it that they did a bad job in following their directions? That's not really where it's at. That's, blame is not the name. Does that name blame game does not work with the heavens. Everything is given to us for a purpose. You look at the mission statement of Love One Society at qfs2020.com. Go there and read it. If something happens in your life that's hard for you to understand why, you sit down and ponder these things in your heart. And you say, there might be some things that I need to learn from this. And if you can help me, God, I'd really like to understand this, because I know this was meant for me to gain some experience somehow. And just the experience itself might be the reason for it. We just don't know these things. So we try and outguess God, and it never works. We just do
Right.
the best we can with what we have, and that's the best way for us. I hope that helps.
Thank you so much. That did great help, and just know I'm on the right path. So
Yeah, you are. Thank you, Myron.
thank you.
Okay, the next member to speak is Raymond. Raymond, please open your mic and speak to Ron.
Yes, Ron, I was wondering the programs that we're going to be implementing on QFS 2020, are they set in stone now, or is there going to be tweaking going on?
There'll be tweaking going on. The way that heavens work is line upon line, precept upon precept. Nothing in the past is in stone. It's a movement towards a greater. Can our minds handle the fullness of God? No, it doesn't. It doesn't work that way. So we get a little bit at a time, and then we adjust as we feel that's necessary. And that's how I've been able to work. Well, not been able to. That's how I've steward the responsibility for Love One Society. I come up with the thoughts because I'm being led by Spirit. Well, thank you, and I appreciate that. But they're not always completely together. PHF is a prime example. We had no reference to renters and helping them with rent. Like people get a house, and we help them with getting their house and selling their house, refinancing, whatever. So it's going to change, and the Spirit will guide and direct us. That's the way it's supposed to work. So, and we respond accordingly, and we finally get to the right place where it will all just work perfectly. So that's the best I can do for you, Raymond.
Okay, thanks a lot, Ron. Love and blessings to everybody. Have fun.
Thank you, and thank you for being with us, Raymond.
Thank you for that. The next person is Mauricio. Please open your mic and speak to Ron.
Hey Ron, thank you so much for taking my call.
You're welcome, Inicio.
Thank you, Ron. Ron, I'm from the Spanish team. I want to share some thought with you. I think that one of the most important things that we have to do in the beginning is to find a place to establish our CAC. And
Mhm.
in my scouting, I have found in my city, I live in a big city, something like 8 million people. I have found that there are some malls, some commercial places, big commercial places that are running in a middle gear. Maybe the sales are not very good, and they are in a middle gear. A lot of places are empty. Those malls are big places, big buildings with a big parking lot and all the services that we need. And I think this is something like a heaven's gift, because this is the place we need with all the services, all the things we need, and they are ready to run for us. And maybe this is the same idea that in other cities around the world, other humanitarians can take in order to have their CACs in a really quick, in a really quick time.
Yeah. I like the idea of having cities that have empty buildings, commercial buildings, office buildings that we can move into. It's not always going to be exactly the way we want it or think it should be, but we'll have the money to change things, remodel, and do what we need to do to make it so that it works. I don't know that building a CAC, because it's going to take a couple of years, perhaps a year in preparation for getting everything that we need. But why don't we just build or go into a building that's already built and put ourselves in a position where we'd like to have a place for the computers, and we had places for the director's office and maybe assistant director's office. And how many I don't know how many. Could be 20. It doesn't matter. They're all separated up into different categories and are capable of doing different things. So I don't believe that building a building is the right way. Finding one that is already built and remodeling it if we need to suit the things that we want to do as a CAC. So I like your idea, Inicio, and I think that what you're looking at is probably a really good thing for you to start learning how to build or remodel or do what you want to do with it. The money is not here yet, but when it comes, it'll be plentiful for all that we need to do.
Yes, that's it. Thank you, Ron.
You're welcome.
Okay, Ron, we are at the end of the half hour. We've gone an hour and a half, so we want to stay on time for you and respect your schedule. So do you have
Thank you.
any final comments for our family before we all say goodbye?
Well, I'm going to look forward to next week, and I'd like to give a special thanks to Dom and the rest of the team, Mr. and Mrs. Mouse, for all of the help that they're doing. They're picking up the major load. I just tag along and say, okay, good. Way to go. They're in their element of being led by Spirit to do the right things, and I honor them for their ability to do that. And I look forward to next week for our next sessions.